Hello and welcome to Leadership Insight. Today it's all about effective conflict resolution for women. Welcome, welcome again. Come on in, everybody. I am delighted to have you here as we explore strategies that can help us to navigate conflicts with grace and effectiveness. Conflict is a natural part of any work environment, but how we handle conflict can significantly impact our careers and our leadership journey. And granted, you all, I'm saying conflict is in the workplace, conflict is everywhere we turn. But of course, today we're talking about in the workplace. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel wherever you're catching us from. And you may be seeing this on YouTube, Facebook, you may be seeing this on LinkedIn. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Last week, it was all about level up your leadership, the art of active listening. We speak a lot about active listening. And so I definitely wanted to do something that was dedicated just for active listening. So if you missed that, please make sure that you go back and listen to that. We're going to talk a little bit about active listening today. And of course, I will say the same. If you missed it, you really want to be able to hone this skill in. Listen, this skill is not going anywhere, anybody. I'm just saying, it is not going anywhere. So you might as well really start to develop that skill. Our 3 points for today is going to be active listening, finding common ground, and giving grace is so near and dear, but we'll get into that later. But that is something that we have to do, not just for ourselves, but we need to start giving grace to others. If you're catching me live, if you're catching me on a replay, let us know that you are in the house. Drop your name, where you're tuning in from. We'd love to be able to shout you out. If this information is resonating with you, please let us know that as well. And if there's something that you're like, you know what, Sparkle Joy Coach, you haven't covered, or could you cover this in more detail? Let us know what you're interested in. We are here to ensure that you are able to move to your next level. I'm going to start out with a story, and this story is about a leader by the name of Sarah. And she was a mid career professional known for her dedication and excellence. And I know that many of you out there are known for your dedication and excellence. So let me clap you up too as we speak about Sarah. However, for Sarah, she often found herself in conflict with her team members due to misunderstandings and different work styles. And how many of you out there are at work doing your thing? And some of y'all are really doing your thing. And yet you turn into the side and you're like, "What did they even say that?" Now I know a couple of y'all are like, yeah, you in my office, you in office. But that was what Sarah was facing. Again, the misunderstanding, different work styles, and literally, despite her best effort, these conflicts affected the team morale and productivity. And if I did a show of hands, how many of you out there are in your workplace and you're just like, listen, I don't understand what is going on with and I might just use my name. I don't understand what's going on with Miranda, but she is messing up our whole entire work dynamic. One day, Sarah attended this leadership workshop where she learned the power of grace in conflict resolution. And she realized that her approach needed to change. And sometimes, you all, you may have the best intention. And let me say this, you all a lot of times are 100% on spot with what you're thinking. However, sometimes it's that small, little bitty, minute change, not that you make in somebody else, but that you make within yourself. For Sarah, she realized she needed to change. And so instead of focusing solely on issues, she started to give grace to her team members, acknowledging their perspectives. Because again, we all have different perspectives. Perhaps maybe this perspective, it may be yours. We may not be able to run with it right now, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't acknowledge it. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't respect it. And so for Sarah, that is something that she learned to give her team members grace. She was acknowledging their perspectives, working collaboratively towards solutions. And over time, Sarah noticed that there was a significant improvement in her team dynamics, and conflict started to be resolved more quickly, and her team became more cohesive and productive. And this story is going to highlight just the importance of effective conflict resolution in leadership by and literally integrating grace and a couple more strategies, we can transform conflicts into opportunities for growth and also for connection. And so let's start with our first point, active listening. And again, if you all missed my active listening segment, please go back and watch that, because this again is such a skill set that's not going anywhere. And we all need to level up just a little bit in our active listening. So, for active listening, it's the foundation of effective conflict resolution. It's going to involve concentrating, understanding, and responding thoughtfully to what another person is saying. And in essence, this is how it works. I want you to be focused on the speaker. Please give your full attention to the speaker. This is not the time that you are formulating what you have to say, your comeback, your get back, your slap back. None of that. Oh, I want you to be focused on the person who is speaking. Put away the distractions, even if the distractions are in your mind. I want you to acknowledge, okay, I've drifted off, and then recorrect, get back to what the speaker is saying. It also may help to make eye contact as well. Then I want you to be able to reflect and clarify anything that you're hearing, even if that means repeat back what you've heard to ensure understanding. For example, what I hear you're saying is whatever that is. Did I get that correct? Is there something else you would like to add? Where did I fall off on? Just make sure that you don't just hear what they're saying. Make sure that there is some type of paraphrase. Make sure that there is some type of understanding where you know what you're hearing is actually what you're hearing. And also, it's going to help for you to ask open ended questions, encourage further discussion by asking questions like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? How did that make you feel? When you say this, what exactly does that mean? I want you all to also get out of the habit of thinking that you know exactly what a person is saying, because many times we all have different backdrops. If I say that you offended me, I need you to ask me, what does that mean? What does that look like for you? Because just because you're offended by something does not mean Miranda is offended by the same thing. It doesn't mean Lisa is offended by the same thing. And sometimes, as people, we think we're on the same page. Oh, I was mad about that too. Well, it could be for different reasons. So I implore you that, especially when you're in your active listening sessions and that's what you're working on and you're practicing, that you ask more questions. Did I hear you right? You felt this way. Did I hear? Can you explain what you mean? Stop just assuming you have it all together. And especially when we're in conflict, that's a time that we really need to also be practicing things like deep breathing, centering yourself, because they could be saying something that you just inherently don't like, or it rubs you the wrong way. And so you still need to be centered through that. And even if it is rubbing you the wrong way, sometimes you can acknowledge that. Sometimes it's not the place for it, but sometimes you can. But that's when you really need to continue to dig deeper so that you can truly understand in the heck is this conflict about? And those are some of the things that you can do when it comes to active listening. Active listening really does help build trust, and it's going to show that you value the other person's perspective. And it can also be used to diffuse tension and pave the way for more productive conversations. And understand when we're talking about active listening, and we're talking about in the realm of conflict, it is so important that person is heard, which means you have to put aside whatever you're feeling because we're talking about the greater good. The greater good is to come to a resolution. And so if we're putting aside for the greater good, then ask questions, listen intently, make sure you're doing the paraphrasing, open ended questions. Now, our second strategy is going to be finding common ground, and that involves identifying shared goals and values that can serve as a basis for the conflict resolution. And so, think about it. Maybe we're working on a project together, and the end goal is to make sure this project is successful. And so maybe that's we both want this project to be successful. You see how that, because we both want this project to be successful. So, how can we make sure that it is? And then you're going to then backtrack to all of that active listening, but definitely identify those mutual interests. Look for those areas where interest into the other's person's into look for areas where your interest and the other's person's interests overlap. And so it's not just, oh, this is their goal, this is our goal. You want to also see where is that intersection that we can pull that piece out. Because at the end of the day, we both need that one piece. And for example, both parties might want a project to succeed, even if they have those different ways of achieving it. Create those win solutions, propose solutions that's going to address both parties. That may involve a compromise, it could involve more collaboration to find the path forward. But definitely, this should not be Miranda's way or the highway. It shouldn't be Jane's way or the highway. It should be How can we both get on this highway together? What can we give Jane? What can we give Miranda? What can we give the other person in the solution? When we're talking about conflict, we want to make sure every person can leave with a little piece of the pie. No, you can't eat the whole pie, but you can get a little piece of the pie. And that's one of those win-win solutions. And then build on your agreement. Make sure that you're able to acknowledge, yes, okay, this would be good for both of us. This would be good for the project. This would be good for the organization. Start with the points that you all both agree on and use that as your foundation to start to address the more contentious issues. And you just got to stay in it. Part of it is making sure that you still stay grounded, you stay composed. Do not take it personally. And I know, conflict can feel personal. It can feel like a personal attack, but it's how you start to look at it. We are just disagreeing, okay? It's not a personal attack, it's just a disagreement. I like to drink my making this up. I like to drink my water with a straw. You like to drink your water without a straw. We do it two different ways, but we're both drinking water. And however, just because I like my straw, you don't like a straw, let's come to some commonality when we get together. It's not a personal attack. And I know it feels like it's a personal attack. It's just one person likes this, one person likes that. So by focusing on our common ground is we need to get glasses of water a day. How we do this together. So focus on that common ground. And then you can start to shift the conversation from confrontation to collaboration. Did you know that I like drinking water with a straw? Because back in the day when I would drink without a straw, I would gulp and then I would start to feel like I was now, again, you all, I am making this up, but I want you to understand you don't know someone's story or their backdrop, but perhaps I like drinking water with a straw because I had this childhood experience where I felt like I was drowning, or I had a bully for a sibling who made me drink a whole bunch of water and they shoved it in my throat. And so that's why I got to I'm drinking. Now, you didn't know all this, right? You had absolutely no idea. But if you use that active listening and you ask more questions, perhaps you can also understand where that person is coming from, how they got to this point, and then you can start to really develop your common ground. And our third point is going to be giving grace. Giving grace means approaching conflicts with understanding, empathy, and forgiveness. Yes, even forgiveness in the workplace. That's right. I know that's a topic we don't really talk about a lot, but we need to because even in the workplace, even with your coworkers, even with management, these are human beings that have real life going on. You don't understand what you think. You may think you understand Amy. You may think that, but you don't know that Amy was up all night. She didn't tell you that she was up all night with a sick child, with a sick parent. And yes, Amy may be coming to work a little bit gruff, and you may see her as being gruff, but you don't know what she's going through. I'm not excusing coming to the workplace with your own baggage. I'm not excusing that. I'm just saying that we are human beings and especially even after the pandemic, people's lives are so different. They themselves are trying to adjust. You tried to adjust. And so, with all of these adjustments, giving grace is just the right place to start. So, giving grace, again, approaching the conflicts with understanding, empathy, and forgiveness, it involves recognizing that everyone makes mistakes and that conflict often arises from misunderstanding rather than a malicious intent. I am almost, maybe not 100%, but I'm almost sure that Amy didn't come to work today to piss you off. Almost sure Amy didn't come to work today to rub you the wrong way and to get into all of this conflict. So just, I need people to have a different or come with a different thought process and recognize that there is not a malicious intent. It's just a misunderstanding. So, here is some of the ways that you can start practicing grace. And some of you are going to have a hard time with my first point. Need you all to assume positive intent. Again, I don't want you to think that Miranda came to work to piss you off today. I want you to think Miranda has my best interest in heart. Miranda has the company's best interest at heart. I need you to assume, and I know you may have had issues with your coworkers, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be able to extend grace, I need you to assume positive intent. Start with the assumption that the other person's actions were not meant to harm. This mindset is going to be able to reduce the defensiveness and open up more constructive dialogue. Because when you're coming at someone and you're saying that they are malicious, they are vicious, they are nasty, that's not assuming positive intent. I need you to come to say, no, I don't understand why they don't speak to me in the morning, but I don't think that has anything to do with me. I think that has something to do with something else. So they don't mean me harm. Did you see all of that? Did you see all of that? Did you see all of that? They don't mean you harm. Assume positive intent. I need you to practice empathy. I need you to see the situation from the other person's perspective. Listen, I'm gonna go back to my straw example. Y'all heard and you this was a fictitious example about the straw. However, you already heard that there is reasons why I drink it from a straw. It's for me to get out of from the things that happened in my childhood. But what you also may not have known is that my parents would get on me about not drinking with a straw because they liked having water with straws. And if you didn't know that, not only did I have issues with a sibling, not only did I have other types of issues with drinking water, then I heard all the time, you drink water with a straw. You should drink water. Again, you all, this is fictitious, but you should drink water with a straw. You should drink. So this in the back of my head. Now you coming over here telling me not to drink water with a straw. So you don't know a person's story. You really don't know their backdrop. So try to see the situation from their perspective. Consider their challenges, their pressures, their motivation. Is somebody jumping down their throat about work not getting done and it has to get done this way? And this is why you're getting this conflict. Understand that. And I need you to offer forgiveness. Let go of grudges. I know I just used some cuss words for some of you all. I know. Even though I didn't curse, I'm sure I used curse words. Let go of grudges because some of you, hold on. Some of you hold on to too much for too long. Let go of the grudges and be willing to forgive the mistakes. This doesn't mean that you're going to ignore the issues. but rather address them without holding on to resentment. Giving grace can literally transform conflicts by creating a more supportive, understanding environment. At the end of the day, even if we use the straw story, if you work with me and you get to see where my story developed and how it developed, I know some of you are saying, yes, but if the mission is this, we should be able to throw all caution to the wind and we should all quickly get on the same page. Sounds all great and dandy. But realistically, that just doesn't always work in the workplace and it doesn't always happen that way. And thus, if you use some of these practices, you are going to establish the trust. You're going to establish the collaboration, and giving grace is going to change the situation. It's going to encourage an open dialogue. It's going to foster a culture of respect. You took the time to hear me out. You took the time, and a lot of times conflict is about seeing people, hearing people, seeing people. You took the time out to listen to me. You took the time out to give me grace. You took the time out to find common ground. All of these things are going to help really disintegrate some of the contention. And it's going to help you all to come up with wonderful resolutions. And so today, it was all about conflict. We discussed three strategies for effective conflict resolution: active listening, finding that common ground, giving grace. Grace is free. Each of these strategies can play a vital role in transforming conflicts into opportunities for growth and collaboration. By implementing these techniques, we can create a more harmonious and productive work environment, ultimately advancing our careers and strengthening our leadership capabilities. Remember, the power of grace and conflict lies in our ability to approach others with empathy and understanding, and a willingness to work together towards positive outcomes. I would like to end with a quote. True leadership shines in the moments of conflict where grace, understanding, and a collaborative spirit turn challenges into opportunities for growth. Your very own Spark of Joy coach. Thank you for joining this session today. I hope that you leave with valuable insights to apply to your leadership journey. Join me next week for an incredible, insightful session. You deserve nothing but the best. It's my goal to help you to move to your next level. Let's take your career to new heights together.